Hey there, everybody. Welcome to a new Blacklist video. We have some more Season 10 updates here. We'll talk a little bit about the presumed return of Robert Vesco, some Aram theories, and we've got a part of our rewatch at the end here where we'll get into Season 1, Episode 16, Mako Tanita.
Yeah, there's not as much to talk about Mako, but we're going to get into all of that. I mean, a lot of people died in this episode, so they're not coming back.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll connect what we can.
All right. Well, as we, of course, dive into a lot of this, you guys know everything that we do here at the channel. We post Blacklist discussions every Friday, so hit that subscribe button, because it's good to be reminded every now and then that we're here. We want you guys to be a part of this discussion.
And thank you to everyone who gave Matt all the, happy birthdays the past few days. It's been really nice to see all the comments coming in, and, we both really appreciate it. I know Matt appreciates it a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And also follow us over on our Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. We put up a whole bunch of birthday pictures, so check it out over there and give us a follow.
Okay, let's start here with Aram, because I feel like Aram this is the thing that will make the people most excited. I love Aram. To me, he is the most relatable character in this world, because I would also be freaking out 99% of the time to be around some of these people.
Yeah, no, he's really relatable. One of the things that this character deals with is anxiety and dealing with his stress. And I think that there's a lot of us, me included, out there that deal with that as well. So he's always been a very relatable character that, he's just a nice character. And Amir is so nice. And it really was just, heartbreaking to hear that he was going to be leaving and that he's going to be working on this play that he's been working on. And we've seen, cast and crew and people go over to watch the play for opening night. And then the 200th episode celebration happened and he was invited to it, which makes sense. I mean, he's been part of the show for, 9 seasons. They shoot in New York, his play's in New York. He came by. But there was this one really interesting picture where he held up the back of the chair that used to have his name on it. And he was like, oh, they're holding my place for me. You never know kind of thing. Where it's making me feel like maybe his play is going to be a bit of a limited run. I mean, most plays kind of are in general. He can't just be on stage for the next 20 years till he drops dead. He's probably going to want to do some other things. And, Blacklist is really an important part of his career. So if they're holding his spot for him and he's holding up the chair sign being like, oh, this is so nice. Is it possible that we could actually see him back by the end of season 10? Or is he just kind of more leaving the door open for possible season 11, which hasn't been confirmed yet?
Okay, so here's, I think, a couple of interesting things about all of this is that technically the only new series regular we have officially, all of my tinfoil hat theories about Panda Baker last week aside, like the only actual person who's been confirmed full-time is Sia, Mira and Malik's daughter. And technically we lost Aram and Park, and there hasn't really been that much discussion about a Park return, but Aram, he's still out there. It's clear that, Amir still has a lot of affection for this show. This show has a lot of affection for him. Like, I understand, the Kite Runner's going to keep him busy for a long time now. But like you sort of said, the end of this season, you never really know what the future is going to hold at that point. And from what I understand sort of about Amir, I think he's someone who, he doesn't try to think that far ahead. I think he really tries to just sort of embrace the moment and live in the moment and enjoy and appreciate what he has. I mean, he got an opportunity to lead a Broadway show. I think any actor in their right mind is going to be like, I want to do this. This is like a bucket list thing. But, after the fact, he He may miss Aram like we all miss Aram.
Yeah, and I mean, with plays in general, they do have, like I said, limited runs. Broadway's always bringing in new plays and switching out plays, but also casts. Casts get burnt out. Doing what Amir is doing and what other Broadway actors are doing, like, there's just going to end up being a bit of a burnout, or I need a break, or it's time to do something else. It's very intensive. It's a lot of work. So is it possible that we might see him at the end of season 10? I think maybe. I mean, this gave me some hope. It gives me more hope that if there's a season 11, we could see him back. I mean, right now, there's no real like tech specialist. Is Sia a tech specialist? I don't know, maybe. But if she's not, then there really is this sort of gaping hole there left by, Amir to go do this. Of course, I'm just kidding with him. But that this character is really needed for this task force.
I just think, in general, they wrote out Aram in such a way where he's just like, oh, I'm going to New York for a while. I might take in a Broadway show. It's just like, all right, you guys you didn't kill him off. You didn't jettison him to like the other side of the world. It's like you've left the door very open.
All right, Robert Vesco, let's talk about it.
Okay, all right. So I think this is sort of the thing I'm starting to get with Blacklist and some of their guest stars. It's just like they just want to bring in people who they like working with, and clearly they like working with Stacey Keach. I understand, this is Reddington's mentor. We just saw him last season, but there are some teases now on Facebook that it looks like he is coming back. What could make this interesting is the last time we saw Vesco, Dembe basically brought him in, and he had to sort of prove to the task force that he was team FBI and not team Reddington. So why is Vesco back now? Yeah,
I don't know, but I mean, this really does feel like they're just dipping into the nostalgia as much as possible, because they've had huge cast changes the past 2 seasons with, losing Park and Amir, and then, we've lost Megan Boone.
Yeah.
It's just, the sisters seemingly are gone too. There's just a lot of changes and a lot of people are gone. So, I mean, it makes sense that they would want to sort of dip into the well of people that, we all know and we've all seen and we're all familiar with.
Here's the best thing about Vesco coming back is that every time we've seen him so far, and I know granted it hasn't been a lot, but every time we have seen him, there has been a heist involved. This is a guy who loves his heists.
Yeah, he does.
You know what you and I really like?
Heists.
That's right. We may be getting another heist episode. And I know everybody's like, oh, I want answers. I want this, that, or the other thing. You know what? Sometimes we just need to watch people steal things on TV and like break open vaults and find artifacts and other sort of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know what sort of answers we're going to be having this season. I mean, seemingly, yes, there's Reddington's identity hasn't been like 100% confirmed. I know there's going to be people come in the comments and be like, yes, it has. I don't feel that it has until I have that monologue from James Spader being like, I am fill in the blank here. Everything is up to interpretation for me anyways. But I just think that with him having most of his answers kind of wrapped up with the Liz stuff, we really are going to be going into what are the questions and answers that Sia is going to have. And outside of that, this really feels more like, let's get Reddington this season with, what we're affectionately calling the Marvin list, because Marvin is the person who put this list together to give to Wu Jing. So, I mean, this Marvin list really could be sort of the whole arc of the season of who's going to come back to come and get Reddington.
It's a really fun premise, and that's the sort of thing that's an inspiration for our rewatch in a lot of ways. But the unfortunate thing, and we're talking about sort of the Baka-Tanita episode, is it's just like there's not a lot here when it comes to what's a nostalgia wrinkle that the show can bring back. Like, this is mostly a wrestler episode. This is to a certain extent like a Tom episode. Even Reddington at the ballet, like, that was a mystery for a good while, but it's sort of been established that, okay, Liz did ballet when she was young. Like that loose end, if you even want to call it that, isn't really even much of anything anymore.
No, and pretty much everybody's dead in this episode. I mean, Jolene is gone, and Mako's gone, and even the partner wrestler was after. He gone. Everybody's just dead. So who's coming back from this? I mean, Tom is dead too.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, it's difficult to reach into this episode and be like, who could we see back? And I know that there's some theories that maybe I kind of like tinfoil hatted on this channel that Tom might still be alive because when we saw him dead, he didn't have any sort of Y incision on him, so he wasn't autopsied. The death of him and all the things that we were seeing were stories that Reddington was telling, and we know that he tells half-truths, and we also know that things have been staged for him to see, so he might think that Tom is dead and Tom is not dead. He's probably dead, but I mean, in reality, they could definitely bring him back and explain it. I just don't see what the reason would be. Like, what's the reason, except that a lot of us really like Ryan.
I don't think there's a way they could feasibly bring him back in the present. Like, I just don't know how you would explain it. The question marks you raise are valid. It's just, he's been gone for so long. Liz is dead. Now, here's the interesting thing here. If we are going to double in on this tinfoil hat theory from way back when, New Amsterdam is only 13 episodes this season. Mm-hmm. It's going to be done filming long before the Blacklist season 10 is done filming. So, there would actually be room in the schedule for Ryan to come back and do this, even if it's like a flashback, dream sequence, or something else. I guess it just comes down to, number one, does Ryan want to do it? Number two, is there an interesting story angle for it? I think if this is the final season, which, we don't know, I think there's a good case to be made that you just try to bring back as many familiar faces from the past that you possibly can.
I just think there has to be a reason for it. And he's so connected to Liz, and the Liz story is over, that there just isn't a reason to bring him back.
The real big takeaway for me from this episode mostly is just a reminding of just how much wrestler's life sucks. Really, when you think about it, this guy has lost so much. He spent most of his career chasing down Reddington, a guy who's basically just laughing in his face at this point, being a part of the task force. And it's just moving into season 10, I need wrestler to, number one, have a storyline that feels somewhat coherent and doesn't just drift all over the place. But I actually want to see this guy happy. I don't think he needs to be hung up on Liz or anybody else that he's lost for the rest of his life. The guy deserves something.
I don't know. I'm kind of happy with the way that he is. It'd be nice to see him have some happiness. But at the same time, this is the Blacklist. This isn't a show that I expect people to have any sort of happiness. It's a really dark show. And he's been through some very dark things. What I just really want to see for him is a story, because going back and doing the season 1 rewatch, he's had a really good story. He had a lot of stuff going on, and then he kind of just got lost in the middle, where he was just always showing up to the crime scene just a little bit too late, and that was just going on for years and years and years.
Well, here's the thing now, Blacklist. You don't have a lot of other characters. You're kind of required to give wrestler a little bit more of something. If you don't, what are you gonna do? Tell a 4-episode arc about Brimley's goat? You got to do something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will be here, of course, next Friday. More Blacklist discussion. Hopefully, we'll get a premiere date soon. Something more to kind of get really excited about.
Yep.
Hit that subscribe button, though. Follow us on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV, and we'll see you here next time.